Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the LAN Party Podcast. Today is Tuesday.
Tyler's trying to make a phone call.
The 18th.
It is the 18th.
We're
You're going to get a voicemail.
Yeah,
more than likely.
it's still going. Your call has been
I
forwarded
heard
to an
that.
automatic voice message.
I don't doubt it. I heard that from here.
Oh, yeah, we are here. We are here a whopping 12 minutes late.
Par for the course.
We can attribute that namely to we were waiting on Tyler, and then when Tyler showed up a few minutes ago, we were like, well, maybe Nate will show up. And Nate is still not here. So you probably wouldn't notice because Nate tends to be very quiet on Tuesdays.
Yep.
Oh, I got a text message, I think.
Yeah, it looks like he read.
He
the
said,
group
on my
text.
way. You must have called him, and he's like, oh, crap.
Sure, what time is it?
Why is that display blank? There we go. Anyways, yeah, so we're here. A little late, but we're
Here we
here
are.
nonetheless.
Yes, hello.
So, we left off last week talking about some stuff that happened at E3, some game discussions and this and that and the other. One thing that
What? What?
why does my phone feel the need to remind me every time I stream that I can manage my dashboard from my phone?
Because
Every single time I stream.
you can manage your dashboard from your phone.
Cool.
You need that sweet Twitch app.
I have the Twitch app. It's Twitch notifying me.
You need to.
Hey, don't forget you have the app.
Yeah, like it's like every single time. Like if I stream 4 times in one day, the damn app notifies me 4 times every single time. I don't need to you can tell me once and I'll remember. Or like every 10th time I stream. Anyways, we didn't really miss out on a whole lot that we wanted to talk about as far as E3 is concerned last week because most of the big stuff happened prior to the podcast last week. I do know that I think after the podcast last week, the Avengers game was announced or showcased or whatnot.
What?
There's actually an
Oh,
Avengers
the
game.
Yeah.
Oh, it's being made by Square Enix.
It actually looks like it could be good. My biggest problem, and obviously they can't really afford this, but I'm so used to the Marvel Cinematic Universe now that when I see Iron Man or Captain America or Thor or any of those characters and I don't hear Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth,
It really fucks with you.
it really does, especially when you can tell that with some of those characters it looks like they made a conscious effort to make them look like the movie people.
Yeah.
So when it looks similar to the movie people and I don't hear it, it's a very jarring. But that said, they've got a pretty A+ cast. Nolan North and Troy Baker both are fantastic voice actors. And they're hysterical people. If anybody ever wants a good laugh, check out Retro Replay on YouTube. That is Nolan North and Troy Baker. Again, both voice actors who have done countless games. They're in everything. But it's them playing old retro video games. Like on the old Nintendo system and the old Atari systems. It's really funny to watch. Because Nolan sucks at video games. And they just recently started. Nolan North got real big in the games industry with Uncharted. He was the voice of Nathan Drake.
Yeah.
And he has never played any of the games that he's been in.
Oh boy.
So they started having him play Uncharted.
What?
Watching somebody who's never touched a video game before.
Who's the voice actor of Master Chief? Because I'd really like to see him play through Halo.
I don't remember his name. Steve something.
They should get him on that show and have him play through Halo. That'd be great.
He's
Because he's an old dude, so he probably sucks at video games too.
I don't know if he's that old. He's a radio DJ.
Well, yeah,
He's
but
older.
He's been around. I think he was like in his late 30s whenever he did Halo Combat Evolved. So
Played by
Okay, so he's almost 50.
yeah,
Steve
an old
Downs. He's 67 years old.
Jesus.
Jesus. Yeah, I really want to see him play through Halo. I don't care if it's easy difficulty, but it would be much more funny if it was legendary.
With all skulls. Lasso.
Lassos, fucking. Watch him do it all in first try and beat the fucking speed runs.
Well, he actually has played the game at like a Halo convention, but 343. I think it was actually Bungie at the time. Like it was like a Halo contest. Like a bunch of matchmaking players did like 4v4s, and those players like they slowly worked themselves up until they got one crowned champion, and that one champion got to fight Master Chief. But like apparently the devs of Bungie made his character like pretty much
Super OP.
unbeatable.
That's great.
So he's like, I really suck at the game. The only reason I won is because they handicapped me.
That's beautiful. Well, look who decided to show up.
Did you get your keyboard?
You didn't?
So you gotta explain
Did you even leave?
what happened.
They were fucking busy.
No, like what happened to your keyboard?
Whenever you have your mic in front of your face.
Did you say what I think you just said?
Yeah, I put Coke on it.
I told you that was what was gonna happen.
Yeah. And that's what I could have swore you got a spill-proof keyboard because you're clumsy as fuck, and you know this.
Well, I mean, I've had it for like 4 years, so it had a good run.
Have you had it for 4 years?
I've had it for a long time.
I feel like you've had it for 2, if that. All I know is that I messaged you when you were playing American Truck Simulator, and then the next message I got looked like hieroglyphics, and I'm like, what? And he's like, I fried my keyboard. But what buttons did you push to make that happen?
I didn't push any of them.
Like at first, like
I spilled a little bit of Coke and I cleaned it up, and I was playing that American Truck Simulator, and I didn't have any problems. And all of a sudden, the truck kept shifting randomly. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, did I destroy my transmission? And I kept driving, and it kept shifting randomly, and I was like, come on, what the hell? And then I left the game, and when I left the game, I went to type you a message, and it was like hieroglyphs, and I was like, what in the world?
what I actually thought had happened is that you were playing like American Truck Simulator or something and fell asleep, and like your dog like popped up onto your keyboard and like she laid her head on your keyboard or something. Like that doesn't seem that far fetched. And then you're like, my keyboard's dead. I'm like, oh well, that doesn't seem so far fetched either.
It's like, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just raced in the Indy 500. I
How
did.
was that?
It was pretty stressful actually. So Nate, I did full simulation damage because I had a mod that required full sim damage with no rewinds, and it was 200 laps at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I won. Took 2.5 hours. Several wrecks, most of which are caused by the AI's magnetic binding to the racing line, in which
If super glue could move, that would be them.
yeah, they don't budge. But it was actually a lot of fun. I did probably 40% of it in first person. The scary thing is, though, when you're going 235 miles an hour and you're 3 wide in first person going through a turn, and again, the AI don't acknowledge your existence and you're between them, you start to become a pinball. Like, one of them comes down the track and it bumps me into the person that was on my inside, and then I just start doing this in between them. It's pretty terrifying. Speaking of Forza, I don't know if you saw the message that I posted yesterday, Nate. Would you be interested in the Forza motor racing tournament thingy that I'm trying to put together?
Maybe.
Like the little Grand Prix? Because I was fleshing it out a little bit the other day, and I thought of something that could be really interesting. So a session holds 4 players. Or not 4. 24 players. If we could get a full session That would be, what did I say it was? 3 teams of 6? Or 6 teams of 3, one or the other. So say you have 3 teams of 6. Or we'll do 6 teams of 3 because it would help. So you have 6 teams of 3, and you're scored as a team. So, like, each driver has a placement score. If you finish first, you get this many points, and second gets this many, third gets this many, right? But then you also set it up so that each driver in the team is racing in a different class.
So we're going to be racing in teams?
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably won't do it then.
Why?
Because that'd be pointless.
Why?
Because why would I play the game and be on somebody's team when I'm going to come in last place?
You won't come in last place.
Yeah, I will.
Pancake's going to race. My brother's going to race.
I'm definitely worse than Pancake or your brother.
You're definitely not worse than my brother. My brother is just now getting used to not having traction control. I'm forcing him to race hardcore. Second off, not only is it teams, but it's different buckets. So the team captains will pick...
Are collisions going to be on too?
Probably. But team
So
captains will
I'll probably race
pick...
it back anyway because I don't want to run people off the road.
You're not that bad. Plus, let me finish, for Christ's sake.
No.
There will be...
this team racing stuff. What do you think?
If that didn't have stuff in it, I would have thrown it at you.
What does it have in it?
The insoles that came with the boots.
Throw those at him.
Yeah. But there will be in each team, so it's 6 teams of 3. There will be 3 different classes. So you might have an R-class driver, you might have an S-class driver, and you might have an A-class driver. You're pretty damn good with R-class. Weird as that sounds. So you could be put on R-class, and you're only racing against the other 6 drivers in your team. And then you're scored based on that, and points are all tallied up. So it'd be like a Grand Prix series with multiple teams and multiple buckets, if that makes any sense. So, like, again, 6 teams of 3, so 6 drivers are racing A-class, 6 drivers are racing S-class, and 6 drivers are racing R-class. And they're only competing with people in their class. And then, again, when the race is over, you tally up everybody's finishing position, and you get your total for the team at the end of the race. And you move on to the next race. I think it could be a lot of fun, even if you're bad. Like my brother said, he'll probably finish last, but he'll do it for the fun. Considering the fastest car my brother has driven so far is a 1969 Firebird, you've probably got a standing chance.
Do it, Nate. Don't be a pussy.
I might.
Plus, it's a team race, so it's not about how well you perform. It's about how well your teammates carry you.
Or in some cases, literally push you.
I don't like playing the game because I always fuck up and spin somebody out or hit somebody, and they get pissed off at me.
I don't get mad at you. John doesn't get mad at you. Pancake will probably do more of that than you.
I get pissed at you.
You get
don't
pissed
have
at
Nick will get pissed at you, but Nick gets mad at everything. And he also doesn't have the game.
You just have to look at Nick a little funny, and he'll get mad at you.
The only person that genuinely gets mad is Gandhi.
Depending on what kind of day I've had, okay?
And hey,
I'm
look,
not that bad.
look at it this way, Nate. You won't ever have to see Gandhi because even if you're good, he'll be miles ahead of you.
Yeah.
He'll be miles ahead of everyone.
See, even if
Gandhi
you
needs to be on a team on his own if that's the case because he'll just win everything. I don't think I've ever seen Gandhi like actually lose.
He could
Gandhi's just good at everything.
Yeah.
he could take the loss of points from the other 2 teams, like the other 2 divisions, and still win.
see, look, Nate. Even if you do come in dead last every single time, if your team comes in a high place, they'll just know that you placed like first, second, or third, or whatever.
Yeah.
If you ever want a confidence boost, race in an online ghost lobby and just see how good you are compared to everybody
I
else.
just don't want to get in people's way. That's the only problem.
You don't get in people's way.
Yes, I will be in people's way because
No.
I'll be. We'll be coming up to a turn. I'll be behind everybody, and I'll just steam plow into everybody.
We'll
and
just
everybody's gonna be like, "What the fuck?"
we'll just don't do that.
Do you
Well,
know?
I would if I could, but unfortunately, I suck. That's what I'm saying.
There's these things called brakes.
Yeah, I know.
They're pretty
But-
useful.
Seriously
I
though,
suck at
like
it, so.
when it comes down to the brass tacks of it, try.
How are the assists and stuff gonna be? The rules on those.
I'm probably not gonna limit assists. Like I'm gonna have it so that you can't have like. What was there's one that's like traction assist or like off track assist or something like that, where if you go off the track, it helps you get back on the track, or something like that. Like it reduces the amount of spin you have in the grass. I'm probably gonna require people to keep that off, but I probably won't be real strict on.
That is bullshit. When I was
On
playing the Forza Motorsport series, when you hit the grass, it was like glue. You stopped.
well, now it's like ice. You hit it and you can turn your wheel all you want, but the car's still gonna go this way.
Which makes sense, because in the old games, like, you would break your neck on how fast you'd stop. You're going 200 miles an hour. Grass, 40.
Yeah. Oh no, you still slow down a lot, but when you hit that speed, like you just keep going. Like you go 140, and then you just keep sliding until you hit the tire wall at the end of the field. But I'm not gonna be real strict on assists. What I am planning on doing though, like I plan on making this a full-fledged like racing tournament, which means it's going to come with its fair share of practice. So like we'll have lobbies set up where we're just hot lapping and trying to get used to the track, get accustomed to the track, get accustomed to racing everybody, learn the cars. So it's not going to be just like, it's going to be like the Redux Grand Cup that we used to do ages ago, but it's going to be done way more professionally, and probably not as often. Like it's not going to be an every week deal. It might be, once every other month do this tournament. But I would like to put it together and stuff like that. But ideally, sim damage would be on, collisions would be on, and there will be a required number of pit stops. So that way, people that are racing fuel-efficient engines are still required to stop against people that aren't.
Fuel-efficient engines. That's a joke.
Yeah, but there is a difference in engines in this game. Some engines it's not huge.
Well,
but
I don't doubt it. Yeah, your V8 from 1970 is going to suck more gas than your, well, let's just say a V8 from 2016. Or if you happen to get a 4-cylinder like IndyCar.
But the way it's going to happen is we'll kick it off with a qualifier round, and everybody will just hot lap. We'll probably do a reasonable number of laps on a smaller course, and the top 6 drivers will be deemed team captains, and they'll build their teams from the remaining pool of drivers. So, unless I can think of a better way to organize teams, but I really can't off the top of my head. So that's that. It might be interesting though. It might be fun. In other news, we are playing Gmod tonight.
Gary's mod.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
It's been a long time.
Yep.
What are you guys gonna play? Gonna play some prop hunt?
Probably.
Gonna play some terrorist hunt?
Possibly. We're gonna
Hide and seek.
Yeah, we're gonna mess around with it a lot. I was tinkering with it earlier, Nate, just before the podcast started.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've played that game. I think Nick pointed out the last time I played that game was like 2 computers ago. I think the white computer that's sitting over there in the corner is the last computer that I played this game on. I popped it open and I turned VSync off. 300 frames. In 4K.
Sounds about right.
All my settings up. I don't know if I'm going to be able to play it in 4K though. Not for matter of performance, but
Because it's not 4K compatible.
no, it's 4K compatible.
For designed to be 4K.
It works with 4K. That's not the problem. The problem is games that were designed. Some games are designed to work with 4K, but one thing changes, and they never have the setting to change it, and that's the user interface. There's not a user interface scale, so when I open the user interface, all the words are like this big, and I can't read anything. And so, I just I have to get all the way up on my screen to read stuff. Everybody's on their fucking phones.
What are you talking about? It's not true.
No, it's not true.
It's not true.
That is 100% true.
It's not, and you can't prove it to anybody listening.
This is why we don't have a video podcast.
What do you mean?
Not because I can't prove anything, but this is not the most entertaining thing to watch.
Well, neither are you, so it's a good thing either way.
I did try and tap another one of my kegs since I have to use them.
Yeah, you should bring me a glass.
Well, I don't know if my machine's working right. It's not giving me the little green button. Like the button's not lighting up green to indicate that it's drinkable. So it's been in there for like 2 hours.
Yeah, if it's from room temperature, mine took like four more hours before it actually got chilled. It's
So
fucking stupid long. But that thing is good at keeping it cold, not good at cooling it.
somebody unplugged that motherfucker, and whatever was left in that last keg is probably bad now. So I just pulled the old keg out, and I need to read up on how to disassemble those kegs so I can fill them with my own stuff.
Yeah.
I'd really like to do that.
I was actually surprised they actually sent me some Heineken.
Who? Hopsy sent you Heineken? What?
Yeah,
I didn't know they dealt with big name brands.
I didn't either. They fucking should have, because their craft beer is shit. Nate, out of like the 7 kegs I put in that damn thing, I like 2.
I don't
Alright.
tend to care for beer, but I don't know.
If it's drinkable, I don't care. The problem is some of this stuff is not drinkable.
You know what's funny though is they sent you a keg of Heineken, and now they're not going to send anything to this area anymore.
Yeah, I know.
So as soon as you find out that they have Heineken, they're like, "Oh, we're canceling service to your area."
Well, I was really surprised by it because, well, you can't find it on their website because of their rotating brewery shit.
Yeah, I got into an argument with them because they billed me again, and they tried sending me a shipment, and I'm like, no, we're not doing that, no. And I'm like,
you stopped. Shipping here.
it was $80, and remember how when they sent us that email saying they weren't going to ship here anymore,
Mm-hmm.
they gave us a $50 credit?
Yep.
They charged me full price. And I'm like, excuse me, you charged me $80. I'm like, if you can get the price down to $30, I'll take the shipment, otherwise cancel it. And he's like, well, I don't have anything in my records indicating that you got a $50 coupon. And so I took pictures of the email, and I'm like, here's several pictures from the email, top to bottom, explaining what happened. And then he emailed me back. He's like, oh, well, that can't be applied to an existing order. I'm like, the order didn't exist until you made it exist, and you took it from my wallet. And I'm like, can you take the $50 off? He's like, I can't apply the discount. He's like, I'll just cancel the order. And he applied a $50 credit to my account, and I'm like, okay, great, thanks, but I'm not going to be able to use that because you guys don't ship to my area anymore.
Yeah.
So their customer service has always been helpful. Like, they've always done what I wanted them to do. But I was kind of mad that they charged me full price when I had a $50 credit that they just didn't want to use. He's like, it's not eligible for this order. Like, what order is it going to be eligible for?
One that you make, basically.
You've been keeping your kegs, though, right?
No.
I'd hang on to a couple of them.
Yeah, I'm going to keep a few of them, but right now it's like I've got one in the machine, one in the fridge, 4 in my basement.
That's plenty, yeah. I would hang on to like 4 or 6.
Plus I have more on the way.
Yeah. We need to go get a growler so that we can try filling some of these. I'd be interested to see how easy that works.
I wonder if that one beer we like is back in stock.
Well, by we, you mean him. Because I think he's
me.
the only person that's tried tunnel vision.
No, I tried it.
I don't recall. It's probably not.
I like
Listed.
it, like, but we just can't find it.
Yeah, well, that's what tends to happen.
It's like every time I like a beer, I either can't remember what it is or I can't ever find it again.
That's how I am with TV shows. If you like a TV show, don't recommend it to me.
Because you'll forget it.
No, I won't forget it. It'll get canceled. It'll go off the air. When I started watching The Office, like 2 months later, they're like, all right, our season finale or season 9 will be our last season. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And so then I started watching Sherlock. And the year I started watching Sherlock, they're like, all right, season 4 is going to be our last season. Cool. Started watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Brooklyn Nine-Nine got canceled. And I'm like, oh my God. And then just the other day, I found a show on Hulu called Abby's. I really enjoyed it. Well, they announced 3 days ago that they canceled it after 10 episodes.
Maybe I need to start recommending you the shit I'm tired of seeing ads for.
Yeah, like, I'm cursed. Like, there's good shows that I want to watch, but I'm like, man, if I watch that, they're going to be like, all right, show's canceled. Last Man Standing! I loved Last Man Standing, and it got canceled a couple years ago. Granted, they brought it back, but still. What are you doing?
Through your shit.
Are you that bored?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll contribute to the conversation.
No.
You sure? Do you have a dry erase marker?
Somewhere, but I don't know where.
I'm
Darn.
positive. I don't carry my Sharpie on me outside of work.
Well, it's a good. 'Cause I don't need a
Flash flood warning.
Oh my God! Still.
No shit.
It's been raining like fucking crazy here. For anybody not in this area.
Yeah, it's been, like, pretty bad.
Yeah, it's been pouring the last 3 days.
Yeah, when it started raining heavy when I was about to leave work, I was like, great. Am I going to be able to get home?
I'm surprised you went to work the other day, Nate. Did he send you a picture of, I'm sure you saw the roads down by your house the other day?
Yeah.
Like, it was up, the water was from the asphalt up like this far on everybody's mailboxes. And he texted me a picture, and I'm like, how are you getting to work? And he's like, the air intake is on the hood. I'm like, okay.
I don't understand why everybody's so afraid of a little bit of water.
It's
Like, I was going down Bennettsville, right? And 2 cars in front of me turned around. One of them was a pickup truck because the water was about 2 inches over the road.
Okay, and then the pickup truck has no excuse.
And I'm sitting there. He pulls into the driveway and puts on his reverse light like he's getting ready to turn around. I'm like, I'm not waiting for you. I'm going. So my little Focus ST that slammed to the ground past this big red truck and drove through the water. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
You probably looked like a stupid person. The guy in the truck looks stupider because
a truck.
it's a truck. It's
Well, I didn't
designed
have
to...
any problem.
The main thing is like running water. Okay, if it's just pulled up onto the road, fucking go through it.
Well, on Bennettsville, though, it does run. It runs from side to side.
It was running,
Yeah.
but it's not going to affect your car unless it's up body height.
It can also get in
If
your
it gets up
exhaust.
to your doors, well, yeah, it doesn't matter if it's in your exhaust.
Well,
it could.
It
something
could,
like
but it
his,
doesn't.
like it's not going to get far up enough.
You-
There where something just going to be pushed back out by the exhaust.
You learn a thing or two about driving through water if you go off-roading.
Well, I
You can
just...
drive, your exhaust can be completely submerged. You just don't want to stall because you can't restart it. If you stall your car while it's completely submerged, it will not start.
Well,
It'll suck water up.
I don't blame people in cars for not wanting to drive through the water because, first off, the average Joe's not going to know, oh, I can completely submerge my car as long as it doesn't die. The average Joe's going to go, boy, my $35,000 car is probably not very friendly with 4-inch deep water. Let's just go ahead and back away from that. Now, truck drivers, if any pickup truck driver ignores or like turns around, they're stupid. There's literally no reason.
I'm pretty sure I drove my truck through deeper water on that road.
Like, you know,
I was in the middle.
you know that guy, that picture I showed you of the guy with the Toyota Tundra with gold rims? He probably would have turned around.
Probably. But yeah, we've had like lots of rain. And it started on Father's Day, and my dad wanted pizza on Father's Day. He wanted New Albanian, actually, and they had a 2-hour wait. And so I'm like, well, shit, he couldn't get his pizza, so how about I go out and get him dessert? And I was going to go to Norma Jean's, and we got about 3/4 of the way to Borden, and the skies opened up. And when we got to Borden, Norma Jean's was closed. So we turned around and went to New Albany, or not New Albany, I guess Charlestown, to Kroger in Charlestown. And as soon as we parked, like the car went in park and I turned the key off, the skies opened up again. And it was just a downpour. And I parked as close to the building as I could, but it's still like 20 feet from the car to the building. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. Going home yesterday wasn't that fun. Because you guys know my car has super tinted windows.
Yep.
And it was fucking pitch black and raining. I couldn't see a goddamn thing.
Yeah, I could see that.
Why are you guys slacking over there in chassis?
What do you mean?
The mez was completely full, so when we came back from our last break, we couldn't run because the mez was completely
Well, why
full.
didn't you just walk instead?
Just because we were 40 trucks behind doesn't mean we were slacking off.
You had to have been
40 trucks, good God.
The mez can hold like 200 trucks though, so how was the mez full if you're only 40 trucks behind?
We kept stopping and starting the whole night.
I was about to come over there and smack you.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. It wasn't my spot. It was either, I think it was farther back where they start putting the bodies on the frames. I think they were having lots of problems down there.
I thought that was all machine work.
Yeah, exactly.
Were the machines fucking up?
And this
Might
is
have
the
been.
part of the podcast that
Who
I
knows?
just zone out.
Yeah, welcome to my world.
Mm-hmm.
Now, talking about cars, what about this other thing that cars do?
Okay, well, here's something that we can all agree on. So I don't know if anybody's paid attention to the Sea of Thieves chat lately. Have you all seen the video, or at least part of the video that I shared last night? I think Sea of Thieves, I think,
was
is
at
going
work as
to finally try and kick off their own version of, and I'm using heavy air quotes here because I don't think they're esports.
Oh, I
That's
thought
not
you were
what
Mm.
going to say battle royale.
No.
Yeah, that's
No.
what you were going to say too.
They held their first invitational at E3, where they had streamers put together teams, and Joe Neat, who's the executive producer, built his own team, and they competed in a 5-match tournament of Arena to decide who became the winner. And I can honestly tell you, that was super entertaining to watch. Like, I watched the highlights reel, which is about a half hour, but there was some really cool stuff. Like, it was really fun to watch. Because it's also got commentary, because, again, it's using an esports style format. And I was surprisingly entertained. Like, I went and watched it, like, I went in, and I'm like, yeah, I'm probably going to watch, like, 5 minutes, and then it's going to bore me. And then next thing I know, I'm like, wow, I'm 24 minutes in. It was oddly captivating. I really enjoyed it, and I definitely encourage anybody else to go check it out. Speaking of Sea of Thieves, we need to play that again sometime.
We do.
I just know that John has not touched it since he rage quit, and they haven't done anything about the hit registration since then, so my concern is he will probably still have a problem. Not sure. We'll see. Could be fixed, or could be better, but I don't know. Let's see, what else is there to talk about? Oh yeah, speaking of Sea of Thieves, and unfortunately this will leave Tyler out unless he finally joins the PC community. At least it'll leave him out to a certain extent. So I think we talked about it last week on the podcast, or a couple weeks back, that Sea of Thieves partnered with a company in charge of...
Mongoose Publishing.
Yeah. They're making a Sea of Thieves tabletop role-playing game.
It uses the Paranoia... Well, it's similar to Paranoia. It uses a new system they call the Avast rules.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was really confused. It's like, all right, what rule set does this use? I have no fucking clue what it is.
So, this new game it's a Sea of Thieves role-playing game, and I think it launches in, October? Something like that, this fall?
I don't know.
What now?
I haven't looked
Sure.
at it.
It launches in October?
What does?
Something like that.
Does
Okay.
it?
The Sea of Thieves role-playing game?
I have no idea.
I haven't looked at it.
Wasn't she the one that posted it, or was it Ray?
I think Orange just posted it, but I'm going to look up some stuff about it. Anyways, you can pre-order it now. And if you pre-order it, hang on, you get an exclusive set of sales. I'm trying to find an image of the sales. Here they are.
About to say, I messaged you that image.
That is correct, you did. So, if you pre-order the game, you get these sales here. I would like to just see the image, please.
That's pretty cool.
I kind of like those sales.
I'm gonna have to look at the role-playing game and see what the system's like.
Now,
It uses their system similar. It's Paranoia, their other game.
I haven't.
Yeah, I don't
Looked
know.
at it.
It uses some cards for like your equipment. Like it'll be like you find this sword, you get a card that has this stats on it.
now,
And you don't. Your main thing is like a D6, and you roll multiple of them for like whatever action you do.
So it's just a D6 only system.
Nick, do you have tabletop?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you're going to be our game master because you seem to have already got a pretty good idea of how the game goes. So that was going to be the next thing that I wanted to talk about. Pre-ordering it gives you access to those sales. I think when the game comes out, I don't think you get them instantly.
Yeah, they gotta wait for the game to come out.
Now, you also get the game when you pre-order it
PDF copy.
digitally.
Yep.
You get PDF files with all the game assets in it. And so you can actually, the reason being is they encourage you to go and print the game out on a piece of paper, play it with your friends.
Yeah, it has literally everything you need printable.
Now,
But it's like 2 or 3 books, so it's pretty decent sized.
yeah, because it's printable through PDF, it's also importable to Tabletop Simulator. So, when you get these files instantly, like as soon as you pre-order it, they send you the PDF. Like you don't have to wait. You just have to wait for the physical copy. So what I think we're going to do is when I get out of my financial crisis, and have a little bit of loose money, I'm going to pre-order it, mainly because I want those sales. And then I'm going to work, because there's other people working on it right now, I'm going to work on trying to import that game into Tabletop Simulator so we can play it in Tabletop Simulator. Because I think that would be loads of fun to play with all the Sea of Thieves people in Tabletop Simulator. Are you in? Because you've been awfully quiet.
Yeah, sounds like fun.
It's not. I think Nick was telling me to be extremely clear that it's not D&D.
It is not.
It's very different.
Yeah, it's
Ish.
a totally different system.
It's supposed to be a hell of a lot simpler. So we've got that going for us.
A hell of a lot simpler. 5e is really fucking simple.
Exactly. You only have to deal with 1 die out of like 5.
Well, that's true, and I guess they're gonna like checks and stuff like that, because I'm sure they're gonna have something like that, and it's probably gonna be super heavy RP based, just to make it even more simple.
But have everybody have their characters from the lore that we've created in the little role-playing game thing.
And you could do that.
That would be hysterical. Maybe we could even write that into the lore.
And what I was saying is, like, even from the game master's perspective, it's like your main goal is basically just challenge the players and let them kind of do their own thing. Throw some curveballs at them and let them figure it out.
It could be interesting. I think though that it could be interesting fun, because let's just go down the list of people that we have in the Sea of Thieves Discord that would probably be on board with that.
Me?
Well, you don't have a PC.
You have to
I
borrow.
have a shitty laptop that could probably run tabletop.
You know, I want you to know Tabletop Simulator's a little more demanding than it looks.
Because everything's 3D, dude.
You're more than welcome to try, though.
You might have to borrow your brother's.
Maybe.
So we have
If he doesn't have it already, it is VR, so...
jackboot and oranges.
It really is.
I'll sit there and fucking... You guys will be doing that. I'll be sitting there fucking... Sitting in a chair in the middle of my brother's room, playing cards by myself.
You've got Jackboot and Oranges. Those guys would both be in.
Yep.
Monkey would probably play.
John.
Ray would probably play. John would probably play. Gandhi would probably play. Nate, you said you'd play. Who else do we have? Nick, you'd be there. I'd be there.
I'd be running the show.
Yeah. We got a good number of people that would play this. Like, it could be hysterically fun.
I mean, you don't even have to have one GM either. You could have multiple GMs running different sessions.
Yeah, because depending on how many people we got.
Because if you have that many people playing, it could get a little
we may run into this problem we have with Jeffrey's games. Like, there's a lot of freaking people there.
Yeah, whenever you have 7 PCs, if you have 7 player characters, things get a little complicated.
Yeah.
But that's mainly with the combat in D&D. So it may be different.
This may be different. This may be like, oh yeah, 8 players, no problem.
We'll probably attempt it with all those players, and then if it gets too difficult, we'll make changes.
Yeah.
Break it up in different games.
But
I volunteered John to be another GM since he actually does.
I mean, hey, he'd probably be down. But I think that playing that on Tabletop Simulator could be a lot of fun. The only reason, too, that I want to play it on Tabletop Simulator as opposed to physical copy is that almost everybody that we'll want to play it with, they don't live anywhere near us. So we couldn't be like, hey, guys, let's get together on Thursday night and play Sea of Thieves roleplay, because...
Yeah, let's face it. Like, basically, it's like the people that would play physical copy are, like, in the room right now.
Yeah.
And John.
I wonder if we could get Derek in on that one. In the role-playing game.
You probably could.
Because he doesn't have to buy the game. He already has Tabletop Simulator.
And it's a tabletop game, so...
We might actually be able to get Derek in on that. Slowly convert him to a Sea of Thieves fan.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be great.
You know what's funny about that? Was it you, Nate, that told me why Derek didn't want to play?
I don't know.
It was something to the tune like...
John.
Maybe that's what it was. Derek said that he didn't want to get the game because it looked boring and we would quit playing it after a month.
Here we are.
Year and some change later. Granted, I still take breaks off and on for like 2-3 weeks. But when I get back into it, like, it's not like I don't put it down for a year and not touch it again. It's definitely had some staying power. That's for damn sure. What else do we want to talk about? Somebody come up with something to fucking talk about. I'm the only one starting conversations here. I'm running out of ideas.
Well, you see, the new Breath of the Wild sequel looks really, really good.
Didn't pay
Even though
attention.
They just had a cinematic trailer for it. It still looks extremely interesting. Great addition to the plot. Looks like they're bringing back Ganondorf. And it's going to be a very dark take on the game. Why don't you just pull up the trailer? I'm sure you'll like it.
I don't tend to care for Nintendo games. I'll pull up the trailer for the sake of the viewer,
Pull
but
up the trailer.
I was going to say, like, in other news, people are pissed off at Game Freak.
They also added, what's his face? Banjo and Kazooie to Smash Bros.
Yeah, I think we mentioned that last week.
yeah, we did. Muting my... Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm not. Not yet, because I lost my cursor.
It's on the right screen.
There it is. Having 3 monitors sometimes really fucks with your head.
But I don't know. Tyler, you play Pokemon games?
Not really.
Not really? Okay.
Not super big into them.
Okay. I'm not really paying... I'm just... browsing through Reddit, you see things like this. People are apparently pissed off at Game Freak because they're cutting the size of the Pokedex by like 400.
How can you do that?
You want to hear their excuse? Their excuse is they're cutting 400 to make room for improved animations.
Well, I mean, would you like to 3D render like 800 Pokemon?
That's not my...
The problem is that their new animations that they come out with are the exact same shit from like X and Y.
Here's the problem that I think that people probably have. I guess this is probably not the best word to use for it, but they're effectively retconning those 400. They're like, oh yeah, they don't exist anymore.
They don't
I mean,
exist.
they could just say they don't exist in this region.
Well,
That's it.
yeah, but
That's
they
pretty
haven't
much the thing.
existed. They haven't existed in other regions either. Like there have been Pokemon that you couldn't get in other regions. You had to trade for them. Like that was the whole point of it. I remember that back in the Game Boy games and the early DS games. Like you had to trade for those Pokemon to get them in that region, but they were still in the Pokedex because that's the whole point of it.
Yeah. So, and they haven't announced which ones they're cutting. A lot of people are hoping they're just cutting the really fucking low effort ones, like Trubbish, the fucking trash bag,
Wurmple.
or the ice cream.
The ice cream.
It's literally ice cream cone.
Yeah, I don't. They got real uncreative in number X and Y. They got real uncreative in those two games. All right. Without further ado, I'm gonna mute the mics and we'll watch this trailer real quick. I feel like for me to be remotely excited about that, I would have had to have played the previous game.
And it was very good. The story is you saved the kingdom has been in ruin for over 100 years, and you come back and kick the shit out of what's known as Calamity Ganon, which is an evil force that is taken over the castle and laid waste to the entire kingdom. So, yeah. And then that guy, the fucking mummy dude you see in there, is the avatar for that evil force. Potentially. We don't know yet.
Mm-hmm.
Because it could be Ganondorf. And it's just going to take probably a pretty dark turn. Which I'm excited for.
And everybody's hoping you can play as Zelda for some reason.
Well, I have a sneaking suspicion that you're gonna get to that point in the game, and then Link will be incapacitated, and you'll have to play as Zelda, which would be neat.
Didn't they do something like that in one of the previous games? I don't remember.
I
I've
don't
never
think
played
so,
them.
but that's the concept art, or that's some fan art of what that mummified character would look like if he wasn't a mummy.
So, in other news, I heard rumors, and again, just rumors, that apparently at E3, Cyberpunk 2077 looked better on stage than behind closed doors.
Well, I mean, we still have a fucking 10 months of development.
Well, yes, but there was actually a behind closed door gameplay demo that select people were invited to come play. And some select people went and played it and were not impressed. Granted, again, yes, 10 months of development.
It'd be in what, late alpha, maybe? We're not even at the beta stage.
Well, yeah, but even some of the gameplay, like from what I read, some of the gameplay they showed off in the trailer was not good. Like, actually playing it.
Why'd you have to ruin my day?
It can be redeemed by what Nick and I have both just said. Still has 10 months left to be developed.
Yeah.
What's wrong with the gameplay?
From what I read, it was just a lot. And again, you're also talking, I don't remember where the source was, but it was one source. But it was, I think the word they used was like unimpressive.
How do you fix that?
Get a different reviewer.
I was still gonna say it's like 10 months of development. And
yeah.
This is they probably had to cobble this together real quick for a goddamn demo.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't get too hung up on it. I just figured I'd mention it.
The base game's probably like finished though, right? Now they're just gotta do like the optimization and stuff.
I mean, it might be optimized, but I'd imagine with 10 months of development, they've still probably got some base game stuff they have to finish. I mean, like the core mechanics from like the beginning to like the late middle of the game are probably done, but they still, I would imagine, have to complete, because another article also came out the other day that there's going to be multiple endings. So
they have to fix all that.
They have to make sure all that stuff works and talks to each other right.
And you also got to remember, some of those reviewers, they will bitch that they're playing an alpha in less than 60 frames.
Yeah, and the other thing too is, and again, I don't know for certainty, but it has been announced that Cyberpunk 2077 will use RTX, which, for those of you that don't know what that is, it's real-time ray tracing. Like, it's the RTX software on, I think it's RTX, on the new NVIDIA cards.
On the new ones.
Yeah, so it will utilize real-time ray tracing, but it has also come out way back when those new cards launched that even with real-time ray tracing, as advanced as that is, they're not capable of 60 frames with real-time ray tracing on. Like, those cards just can't handle all of that because real-time ray tracing is a very demanding process.
Yeah.
So I don't know if maybe the demo rigs that they were playing on were using the real-time ray tracing, which would make it seem unoptimized because it's not running at a smooth 60 frames.
Yeah, I was going to say is like, there's no... it'd be pointless to optimize it. You still have 10 months of development. It's not going to be optimized.
Well, and again, there's not much to optimize, though. Those graphics cards visit, like, real-time ray tracing is one of the reasons that, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Exporting, like, finalizing videos takes so fucking long. Like, it's doing essentially what would take the average graphics card and even a high-end rendering card, like, 3 to 5 hours to complete. It's doing it like that. So, I don't doubt that it's just because the card's slow. The card, I mean, it's fast in comparison to what it's talking about and what it's comparing it to, but those cards have actually gone down in price too. I figured they would after the fucking $1,200 price tag on the Founders Edition card. That was stupid.
Yeah, and then after all the miners realized, oh, these are not good for mining. Let's not use these.
There was one at Best Buy the other day, Nate, wasn't there? An RTX 2080? And it was like $800. Like, they went down $400 in price. Founders Edition cards.
Still not going to get one.
I mean, I don't want one right now either. Now, come down the line, if I have more money and I'm more financially stable, and there's more games that are using the real-time ray tracing, maybe I'll consider getting the 2080.
Yeah, maybe we'll see some aftermarket editions that are actually capable of doing
there's
it.
not enough games right now. There's Cyberpunk, and I think there's 2 other games that use the real-time ray tracing.
I don't know.
That's it. That's all. Oh,
at this point, it's a gimmick.
I mean, it's definitely a game changer, no doubt. Like, real-time ray tracing, there is a visual distinct difference. Like, it 100% affects, like, it's noticeable. The lighting. Like, lighting effects are way different with ray tracing, but, like, because it casts real shadows and, like, a number of other lighting enhancements, but...
Yeah, but I like my CPU intact.
Well, it's more intensive on your GPU.
Imagine it sucks for both, really.
No, not really. I mean, that's why the card runs so slow, because the card handles the brunt of it.
Yeah.
Speaking of not anything really that we were talking about, but it came out at Rage 2 was at E3 this past week. Last week, I guess. And I wanted to talk about it last week, but we ran out of time. They're rolling out a series of updates and changes that I think will be rather cool, but one thing that I noticed, it seems to be a running trend in video games, because I know Fortnite did it first, and now Rage 2 is doing it, and Rage 2 is doing it in a comical way because Rage. But I don't know if it was just a trailer thing, but they kicked off a trailer for their new series of updates coming out, and the dude reached his hand up, snapped his finger, and like all the people in front of him disappeared. The Thanos snap.
Spooky.
Yeah.
I just think that's funny. I don't know why. Just comical. Actually, I'll pull up the trailer for the series of changes, because anybody that likes Rage might be interested.
I'll see when it's on sale.
Did you like that meme, Nate?
Mm-hmm.
Did you? Click, 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 click. Oh boy.
Yeah, here it is. This is the trailer. Once more, I will mute mics, and we will go to the trailer.
What was that?
I accidentally brought the mic levels all the way down. Now I'm muting them.
Destructibility, withstand when the red barrels dropping weekly. This new Mexican score on fight around the bend. All of this and more is waiting in the wasteland. Come on, let's make a toast. Come on, let's kill some toast. Get some hearts and some limbs and some hairs to explode. So away, now the world just stays deep down inside. You're the wasteland hero.
How I miss the taste of flesh. Oh, that's my next tattoo.
Oh yeah.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mech.
Have a nice flight.
I got a tremendous surprise for you all.
You're the wasteland hero.
Bethesda does their trailers right, I gotta say. They're comical.
Yeah.
I liked the whole 90s sitcom appearance of that one. It was really entertaining. I would have bought that game in a heartbeat if it was co-op. Because you had a remote interest in it. I think you had a remote interest in it. Did you play the original one? No, you played Brink.
No, I played both those.
Oh. But I thought you had a kind of a bit of an interest in Rage 2. I was interested in Rage 2. If it had a 4-player co-op mode, I'd have bought that. Because it's built on the Doom engine, which is pretty fucking flawless.
Yeah.
So it runs buttery smooth. It's
assuming you have a half decent computer.
And not Nate's old Alienware that it melted.
Yeah.
Yeah, that engine's smooth when you can get it to run on a good computer. If not, yeah,
We all have good computers, except Tyler, who has no computer.
What are you talking about?
lame.
You know what's funny is you mentioned the original Rage and Brink that I played. When I bought Brink, for some reason, I was thinking that was Rage. And
Yeah.
so I started playing it. I was like, this isn't what I thought this was.
Didn't
But
you say...
It was a pretty cool game, though.
I was going to say, I thought
Concept
you were
was
one of the
pretty
people
cool.
that liked Brink. A lot of people did not.
It was a really cool... It was, if you played it just to kill people, you would not get anywhere. Like, you could kill 100 people and not die, and you wouldn't get anywhere. It was completely objective-based.
Interesting.
Which I thought was awesome. But I think that's why a lot of people didn't like it.
Yeah, that tends to happen. I feel like the market of objective-based competitive multiplayer games is, like, dying. Like, everybody just assumes competitive multiplayer means kill people.
I think that's why Battle Royale games are so popular.
Yeah, because it's just kill people.
You don't have to think, just point and shoot.
Yeah.
That's why it's popular with kids. They don't have to think.
Yep.
Speaking of battle royale games, we're about out of time, but I do want to make mention of it just in case. So we talked about it last week. Bethesda announced the Nuclear Winter expansion, and a big part of Nuclear Winter is battle royale game mode in Fallout 76.
I thought that was the whole expansion.
No, there's coming high-level vault raids
Oh.
and some new weapons and gameplay features.
Hopefully it's not like the last high-level raid because nobody could do it.
Yeah, hopefully they learned. But
Hopefully they change that.
on the topic of that mode, Nuclear Winter game mode, they released the sneak peek version of it the day after their E3 press conference, and it was running live from June 10th to 17th, as well as the free trial period, which is now expired. But they announced, I think 3 days ago on social media, that they will be leaving the pre-beta version of the game, like the game mode, in the game until the beta version's ready, because it got such good reception. Apparently, like, it is exceeded everybody's expectations. So I'm really happy for Bethesda that we're starting to see some praise and not hate.
You know, I think one of the reasons everybody likes it so much is it does something. It's very similar to all the other battle royales, but there's one really big difference.
It's Fallout?
No, it does not hold your hand.
Oh.
It does not. There is no mercy.
I mean,
there's
that's...
no balancing.
Yeah.
Like, there's people with power armor. If you don't have power armor, well, sorry about your luck.
Yeah.
And there's the perk cards that you can get, like 80% more explosive damage. Like, that's devastating.
But I think that the thing that I liked about what I've seen of it, it is a battle royale game mode. So if you don't like battle royale, you probably won't like it. But if you like Fallout enough, you might like it because it is battle royale, but it's uniquely Fallout in the battle royale regard. Like, it doesn't feel just like a cheap gimmick that Bethesda, which, I mean, yes, it is essentially a cheap gimmick to get people interested because it's a PvP mode that is huge right now. But they did it in a way that made it feel like they cared about building it. Like, it is a uniquely Fallout experience with camp building and power armor placement and, you know, enemies and this and that and the other. It's definitely... I would have tried it if I didn't have mods, but they won't let you play with modified game files, so...
You cheating bastard. No, if only they would have had private servers where you can mod the damn thing.
Yeah, those are coming.
He can't be good without his
About fucking time.
We don't know when, and we don't really have like any remote time frame, but somebody was talking to Todd Howard 2 days after his press conference about things that, you know, rolling out big plans for Fallout 76, and he's like, you know, we have a list of things that we've got, and, you know, we kind of organize it on most pressing to least pressing, and he's like, right now, at the top of the new features added, we would like to roll out a private server system that allows people to mod the game because the modding community brings a whole new way to play Fallout.
Yeah, because if we get half of Fallout 4's mods, I was like, that would be a lot of shit.
What if they're twice as buggy because now there's a multiplayer aspect?
Well, but it's not going to be yes and no, but it's going to be private servers. So it's going to be like
what if on my end I'm looking at you and your character is just this big blob of messy like textures and stuff, and you're looking at me and I'm normal, and you just have all
Well,
this conflicting.
Yeah, I
bugs.
can get that, but it's definitely gonna take them some working out to do. Like they're gonna have to work on it to make it work. But
I think it's gonna be the modders that are gonna have to work
I-
on it, not necessarily Bethesda.
I can really hope and be excited. Like if they roll out a private server system where like one of us can download a server client and boot it up and run it, and that's what we play on, I would be super happy. Because nothing against the Fallout community. Surprisingly enough, that joke that he made at the Fallout press conference where he's like, we've created an environment in post-apocalyptia where there's nukes and guns and bullets and swords and everybody's nice to each other. That's 100% true. Like, he's not wrong. I love the Fallout community, and they're so good about being good, but
I remember before we started playing, it was like we were worried about everybody
being assholes.
being dicks, killing each other. And it's like, yeah, sure, towards the beginning,
There were a handful of those people, but
a little bit, but now it's just like, unless you fuck up and accidentally shoot somebody's camp, it's like
everybody's so friendly.
Yeah.
Like, you just walk up to somebody and be like, hey, you want some water? Here you go. Drops 100 water for you. Like, people are so nice. And it's definitely exclusive to Fallout, I think. I don't think I've ever seen an online gaming community where you can do anything, including kill people, and people are that nice.
Yeah, I was trying to think. The last time I saw bounty, it was like super low and
Yep.
like 10 caps. Like,
It was probably a mistake.
yeah, I was like, part of me wants to go shame you, but then it's like, it's gonna cost me more to fast travel to you.
Yeah. So, yeah, just figured I'd let you all know that the Battle Royale mode is staying in Battlefield, in Fallout 76 until the beta version comes out. And they'll start rolling out nuclear winter changes. So, yeah. And with that, we are going to call it a podcast. So come hang out with us here in a couple hours. I know that we got the gang coming together to play some Gmod tonight, so it should be good. We haven't played Gmod in a while, so it'll be a relearning experience. Plus, whenever we play sandbox games like that, things just always tend to get pretty comical. So,
I might actually have to buy it.
You don't have Gmod?
I've never had
I
Gmod.
thought everybody who owned a PC had Gmod.
Nope.
So yeah, come hang out with us later. We're gonna go.
Mostly because we stopped playing it.
Yeah,
I got like 300 hours in it.
we're gonna go eat something, and we'll be back later. So, thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you in a couple hours.